In this video we're going to put a ball on the screen and we're going to make it bounce around. And before we start, let's go to the top here, and as always, put your name, and a brief description, and then we're going to go through and we're going to delete these comments here that all start with 3 slashes. They're the same every time. Come on. And that's the last one. Okay. Now we want to have a ball bounce around on the screen, so first of all we need a ball. So let's go over here to our content. Pictures are content. And we want to add an existing item. And I want to go to SkyDrive. And I want to go to my content. And let me see. And here I have a red bouncing ball. It's not bouncing, but it will be. And size doesn't really matter, because what matters is the size of the rectangle that you draw it in. You can make it bigger or smaller than the actual size. And we need a variable here to put the ball into, so it's going to be a texture 2D. And we also need a rectangle to put it into. Okay, and we're going to put it in a random location on the screen. So we need a new random number generator, and in initialize we need to give our rectangle some values. So actually let's not do it first. Let's go down here to load content, and in load content, whoops, let's put ball texture equals content.load, and you got to give the type here, and it's a texture 2D, and the name of the file is ball red 75 by, and I just hit the wrong key there. And that'll load up my ball for me, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some drawing code. So I need to start a sprite batch with a begin instruction, and I need to end it with an and instruction, and then in between, draw is the command used to draw an item on the screen, and I need the texture, which is the ball texture, and I need a rectangle, which is the ball rectangle. And if you don't want the color to be changed, the color is just colored out white, so we'll get that red ball with the marble striping through it. And now let's try to run the program, and you can probably guess what's going to happen. We did not initialize our rectangle, therefore the default values for the rectangle are x and y are 0, and the width and the height are 0. So a rectangle with a height of 0 pixels and a width of 0 pixels is basically not a rectangle at all. It's not even a point on the screen, so we're not going to see anything at all. And there it is, nothing. So what we have to do is we have to go back and back here and initialize. Let's initialize our rectangle. It's ball rectangle. And we'll just put it in the upper left-hand corner for now. So always, try to get something working that's easy at the beginning, and you can always go back and make it a little more complicated later on. So we're going to start in the upper left-hand corner, and I'm going to set the width equal to 50 pixels, and we're going to set the height equal to 50 pixels. And now let's run it again, and this time we should get a much different result. There it is, a 50 by 50 pixel ball in the upper left hand corner. Now let's assign it some random values instead of the zeros that are here. So I want a random value The name of my random number generator is rand, and if I want to get another value, it's the next method, and then I give it the maximum. Well, my screen is 800 pixels wide, so I want a number from 0 to 799, and that returns an int. What I've got on the left is an int, so everything works out okay. However, my ball is also 50 pixels wide, so I don't really want to have its upper left hand corner be way over on the right edge of the screen. I want room for it, so I'm going to leave 50 pixels, and the height is 480. I'm going to leave 50 pixels there, so it's 430. So now the entire ball will appear on the screen no matter where, no matter what these random number generator values are. And when you do something like this, you should probably just run it a few times and make sure that it really is appearing in random spots where you want it to. So let's stop it. That was near the top center part of the screen. Let's run it again, and let's see where the ball goes this time. And actually, that looks like almost the same x coordinate, doesn't it? So let's try it again. Maybe there's something wrong with our x coordinate. Let's run it again. And hopefully it won't be near the center of the x range this time. Okay, and there it is. So we're definitely getting a different value this time. Before they were kind of around the middle, but now it's over here. So I think our random number generator is probably working correctly. And now what we want to do next is we want to make this thing move. So if you're going to make it move, don't build numbers into your program for the speed. Use variables. So I'm going to have an x speed and a y speed. And down here in initialize, I'm going to set those to okay. Now simply doing that again does not do anything. If I want to move the ball, I've got to change the x and the y coordinates, and that's going to happen in update. Okay, this is where most of the work gets done in your program. So ball rectangle dot x, and plus equals will add on the value, so I want to add on the x speed, and ball rectangle dot y plus equals y speed. Okay, so it's going to start someplace random, then it's going to move down into the right 3 pixels in every tick of the clock, so it will not stay on the screen very long. And there it goes. Okay. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to make this ball stay on the screen. Okay, and which means I don't want its left value to be less than 0 for x. I don't want its x value to be greater than 750, and I don't want its y value to be less than 0 or greater than 430. If it hits those, let's say I'm moving from left to right and I hit the right wall, well, then I want my x speed to be the opposite of what it was, so I need to multiply it by a -1. So before we do that, though, I don't want to build the numbers 0 for the left edge or 0 for the top edge, or 750 or 800 for the right edge, or 430 or 480 for the bottom edge into my program. What I want instead is I want those to be variables, so I can change the size of my rectangle anytime I want to. So I'm going to declare a new rectangle, and I'm going to call it screen. Okay, and then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to initialize my screen rectangle, and I'm going to show you another way to do it in one line instead of 4. Okay, and you see I've got 2 choices here, and this is number 1, and if I don't put anything here, it'll just give me a default rectangle with probably zeros for everything, and I really don't want that. What I want is the second version here, and I just lost it. So the first thing is supposed to be the x value, and I'm going to make that 0, and I'm going to make the y value 0, and the width I'm going to make 480, and the height I'm going to make, the width I'm going to make 800, and the height I'm going to make 480. Okay. And that basically just gives me a rectangle. It's the exact size of the entire screen. Okay, but using the variable here instead of building these numbers into my update method is going to make it easier a little bit later on. You'll see. So now what I want to do is I want to check to see if the ball has hit the right side. So if ball rectangle dot x is, now how do I know if it's hit the right side? Well, the right side, there's another rectangle value, and if the ball rectangle is greater than or equal to the screen dot right, and that's that would be 800 in this case, then it's gone off the screen. Now I want to make it appear to bounce, which means I want the right side of it. Let me see. So I want to know if it's at the height minus ball rectangle dot width. Okay. So the ball rectangle, if the x coordinate of the ball is greater than the right edge of the screen minus the width of the ball, then the right edge of the ball will have moved off of the screen, and I want to keep it where it is. So I need to pull ball rectangle back, the x value equals, and I want it to be this value right here. That's as far to the right as I'm going to let it go. So I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to paste it in down here. Okay, and we will just run this program now. And depending on where the ball starts out, if it starts out far enough to the right, okay, it didn't work. Let's try it again. And that didn't work either. Maybe I should have done the Y, the bottom first instead of the right. Okay, now that's going to get there. And I don't know if you could see, but it just went straight down. Let's see if we try it one more time and get lucky here. And no. Okay, well, let's do the Y. Now, actually, all that's going to do is keep it on the screen. It's going to keep it from going any further. So if the Y is still changing, it's going to hit the right edge and it's going to drop straight down. Now, that's not really what I said I wanted to do starting off. So I'm going to get rid of this code here. That's just code to keep the ball on the screen. What I want to do instead is I want to change the direction. So I want the x speed to equal the opposite of what it is now. And so that's the same as multiplying by a -1. So if its speed is +3 and I hit the wall, then it's going to be -3. If it's -3 and I hit the wall, then it's going to be +3. So let's do the same thing for the bottom of the screen. And if that is greater than or equal to the screen dot bottom, and screen dot bottom is basically equal to the y coordinate plus the height, but you don't have to do the addition here. XNA is doing the addition for you. So if that is greater than or equal to the bottom minus the ball rectangle dot height, then I want to reverse the y speed. Okay, and now let's run that. We should get it to bounce off the bottom and the right. But we didn't worry about the top, so it's going to disappear off the top and never come back. So we need to put 2 more if statements in there. One to check to see if it's hit the top. And that would be checking the y coordinate. And if that is less than or equal to, now you might be tempted to put 0 here, but we're going to put screen.top instead. So reverse the y speed. And that's supposed to be a minus, not an equals. Okay, now let's try checking for the left edge. And again, here you might be tempted to say 0, but we're going to do screen.left. Okay, now it should bounce off every wall. Let's give it a try and see what happens. 3 walls, 4 walls, and it's just going to keep going like that forever. Yeah. So let's stop the program, and I think I'll stop the video there, and then we'll pick up with the rest of it on a second video.